What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY. Let's talk about the gathering, the super gathering, as it was. Talk a little bit about the new venue. Talk about our favorite moments from the gathering, just like that. I did actually take off the wristband today. I was trying to. My goal was to really kind of shoot every gathering-related video with this still on my wrist. All the reviews from the CDs that I picked up. Obviously, I wanted to wear it for this review right here, but today was my first day back to work, and the kind of stuff that I work around. I drive a forklift, so there's a lot of times I have opportunity to get grease on this, and I did not want that to happen. So it did actually come off. I wanted to keep that safe because that is by far my absolute favorite wristband that they've had. I've only been to 3 gatherings. This was number 3. I've been to Gathering 17. I've been to Whoopstock last year, and then obviously I went to Super Gathering this year. So that being said, we're going to jump right into it. The one thing I did not like about Shimmer Forest is its size was massive. Now, more opportunity for people to come. I think they were anticipating more people to come to this gathering. I think I heard somebody say that that's one of the reasons they picked Shimmer Forest was because of its size. But I felt like it took away from that intimacy of meeting a lot of your homies. I know it was an opportunity to make new homies, but to go and meet up with the people that you know, the crew that you know, the crews that you know, I felt like that opportunity was really kind of not there because everything was so spread out, for one, and for two, the cell reception was horrible, so you couldn't just hit up somebody and be like, hey, where you guys at? That being said, I was camped right next to the Juggalos camp crew. I could have easily walked over there and ran into anybody that would have been able to get a hold of, say, Brooklyn Menace. Brooklyn Menace was somebody that I only saw one time at the gathering. One person that I only interacted with one time at the gathering. I saw him day one. The rest of the time, all I did was see him zip by. So, I easily could have walked over to the Juggalos crew, but, they were doing their thing. I was kind of doing my own thing. I did get to chill with Shanzi and Coma the first night. They kicked it with us for probably a good couple hours while main stage was popping off. The thing that I really loved about this gathering was Coma. I actually already consider him a friend, but I feel like we bonded a whole lot during this gathering. He actually, day 2, he packed his stuff up where he was because he was basically clear past the baller lots for those who went. Basically where the lake, the quote-unquote lake is on the map, he was camped up by there. So he ended up coming down and sharing our campground with us for the weekend, which I feel like helped us bond a lot more. So that was definitely one thing that I love and took from this gathering. But I just feel like the size was so big. Cell reception was horrible. You really had to kind of plan your day out. We planned our day out like, what do we want to go see? Because we made it our goal to only have to climb that hill one fucking time. I'm sure everybody's heard about the hill. It's a lot bigger. It's a lot longer. It's a lot steeper than any of the ones at Legend Valley. And I don't know if I'll keep this promise, but if we ever go back to Legend Valley, I would rather walk the hills at Legend Valley 17 times than do the one at Shimmer Forest again. I don't know if they'll end up going back to Shimmer Forest or not. I think that might have been the goal people were trying to get to when they were fucking setting shit on fire, and there was some vandalism that I had seen. I don't know if that was the goal or just flat out having a fucking good time, but I hear the owners were okay with the damage that was left, so we may be going back to Shimmer Forest. If we do, I definitely would like to look into some kind of a transportation to get around the grounds because it was just so massive, and there were 2 different hills no matter which way you went. The first hill I actually went down on the way in. Second hill, obviously, I actually trekked it multiple times a day. Day 1, we did it the first time to go get our merch. Day 2, 3, and 4, I went up in the morning to go get breakfast, and then obviously we hiked it again for main stage. And we actually didn't go up the main stage at all for day 1, just because, I wanted to go see Ritz, but I had just seen Ritz on the Fury Fest. Really, the only other act on night 1 that I really was pumped to even kind of see was Rehab, but I only liked like 1 or 2 songs by them, My Addiction and Sitting at a Bar. Not the Bartender song that was redone countrified, the original Sitting at a Bar. So there's really only 2 acts I wanted to even go see. No hate against Guar, but I've seen them twice. I didn't really feel like I needed to see them a 3rd time. So I know CNC Music Factory was kind of an interest of mine just because they were fucking popping shit back in the 90s. So we just decided to kind of kick it at the tent at our campground during main stage that night. On day one, we did go see Blase Rose. We popped into the Juggalos benefit show, said what up to everybody there, and then we just kind of hung out. Like I said, Shanzi and Coma Black ended up coming to the campground, and we kicked it for a little bit. Then they both left for main stage, and we kind of hung out at our tent until midnight when Kung Fu Vampire went on, and when Zug Island went on. Actually, I take that back. I did hike up that hill a third time on day one because we went to go get dinner, me and Coma, and we ran into Kung Fu Vampire. I remember telling him that I was going to go to a set, so I did remember that. So got a little sidetracked there, but we went. We watched Kung Fu Vampire perform, which was one of my highlights, and it was one of my highlights because one, he always puts on an awesome set. Two, he's performing songs off of Come Dawn, which that actually comes out later on this month. Pre-orders went up today. Go check it out. Hit it up. Pre-order that shit. And three, he performed 1986, which I believe I'm one of the only few people who's heard it all the way through yet. So that was kind of awesome to be singing along and be like one of the few people there who could sing along. Not trying to gloat, but that was just kind of a highlight. So that's why Kung Fu Vampire set was a highlight of the gathering for me. Obviously, then Cracked Tiles is a big highlight. I'm a big Zug head now. I've only been listening to him for a year because I've been sleeping on him for years. But the fact that they were actually performing Cracked Tiles, which for many, many Juggalos is a fucking classic. That was pretty dope. He had some mic. There were some mic difficulties or technical difficulties during the beginning of the set, and Sin actually ended up blowing out his voice. So he kind of mentioned that on day 4 when we actually ran into him waiting on ICP that night. So that was definitely another highlight, was getting to talk to Suicide and Sin both. So that was pretty cool. But put on a great show regardless. Suicide went up there, did all the parts for both ICP, Madrox, ABK, and Blaze. You know, if you've listened to Cracked Tiles, you know which songs I'm talking about. But Suicide was up there with one of his homies. I'm guessing from the Suicide Squad. And they covered the parts perfectly. Put on a great show regardless of the difficulties. And poor Sin blew out his voice. He apologized at the end, but I feel like they did a great show regardless of that. You know, there's a lot of times that he paused and let the audience sing. I was fucking down with that because, you know, it was fucking Cracked Tiles live. And almost everybody in the fucking crowd was singing along to that shit. So definitely a highlight there. Once we left Zug Island, we had left there. The Mike Busey ordeal thing was set up right next to the Shazam stage. We see a circle of people right there. Peek through the people, and all I see is a fucking butthole. And it's Flip Flop the Clown getting his ass beat by a dominatrix. Gotta say, that was a pretty weird experience for me. But it's part of the experience, right? We left there, swung by, and Jump Steady was already on stage at the Cannibal House. We went ahead and popped in for a quick minute to see. We were going to go see the world's most dangerous stunt show. So we popped in real quick to see a couple of songs by Jump Steady. Suicide was already there, so he literally had to leave Shazam stage, fucking beeline it over to the Cannibal House, which wasn't too terribly far, to get on stage with Jump Steady, man. Suicide definitely fucking killed it at the gathering because that very first day he performed at the benefit show from the Juggalos. He did Cracked Tiles with Zug Island and then did Jump Steady right after. He was Jump Steady's hype man. So give it up to fucking Suicide, dude. He killed it for the Super Gathering. Well, anyway, we leave Jump Steady. We go over by the Freak Show tent, which was basically the seminar tent. Watched a little bit of the stunt show. It wasn't quite what we were expecting, so we just ended up going to our tent and crashing. We had a long day. We got up early on that first day. So as far as day 2 goes, the daytime stuff, we did pretty much the usual psychopathic auction. We went to the Gathering of the Juggalos 20 years of the Gathering seminar, which was actually really cool to kind of go down that memory lane with everybody who's been to some of the previous gatherings. I know it was pretty cool when they got to talk about Gathering 17, you know. So that seminar was absolutely fucking dope. I hope that they actually upload the video that they had on the projector onto YouTube. I know Isham did for his, that he had playing at his seminar. You could not fucking see at all. I don't think they planned it out or tested it out very well, but you just could not fucking see that projector at all. But we did hit a lot of the daytime stuff. That's usually the stuff we kind of like to go to when we go, is the auction, some of the seminars like that. Then we pretty much just hung out at our tent until it was time to go to main stage, made the hike up, watched everybody there. I know a lot of people have been fans of Suicide Boys and wanted me to check out the Suicide Boys. Their set was not bad, but it's still not quite my cup of tea. Maybe someday I'll give them another listen and it may change. I don't know. Because at one point in time, I wasn't a big fan of Sescrew, and now I'm actually becoming quite a big fan of Sescrew. I think my ears are aging, and it's kind of like a fine wine. Like I'm enjoying different types of music now. I don't know. I don't know how to say it like that. But basically, my highlight from day 2, Soopa Villains, absolutely fucking killed it. Actually, before we went up to main stage, we did get in the car, chill in the AC. We listened to Hit List. We listened to Forgotten Fresh at 6. So it was kind of cool to get hyped for Soopa Villains by listening to Hit List and then then watching Soopa Villains that night. Pretty fucking dope. After main stage, we went over to basically catch Shaggy's Pajama Jam Jammy Jam. I know I butchered the holy fuck out of that, but that's what I was calling it. Shaggy's Pajama Jam. Pajama Jammy Jam. I don't fucking know. We went over there. We sat for a few minutes. Decided to go ahead and head out because apparently we had heard Shaggy had to go back and put his face paint on because he wasn't painted up. So we're like, damn, this is gonna take a while. So we ended up leaving there. We went down, swung by the seminar tent to see Randy's cheeseburger thing going on. Don't remember the name of that one either. But we hung out there at the seminar tent, waited for the Men in Black, the Bruce Brothers Men in Black seminar to start. Sat there. It was, the start of that was basically like science class. And Megs and I both started to fall asleep. So we ended up calling it a night, heading back to the tent. Day 3 starts. Didn't really go do a whole lot during the day. We hung out at the tent with Kama, just relax and chit chat and everything like that. We did venture over, catch the Isham seminar. After that, went back to the tent, and then was a little late getting up to main stage. I really wanted to see Whitney Payton. Didn't end up catching that set. That's one of my regrets. If we're going to talk about highlights and regrets, that was one of my regrets, was not going up and seeing Whitney Payton. So we made it up just as Light was taking the stage. Again, that hill's a bitch, man. You got to stop and take breaks. So we made it just in time for Light's set. Ended up staying for all of Tech 9. Tech 9 ran over. And the goal was to go hit up Have-Nots. By the time we got halfway down the hill, we could hear him performing, so we kind of sped it up a little bit. We get there. They did like half of a song, and we're done. Fucking missed Have-Nots. That was regret number 2. But, what do? Do you leave Tech 9 early to go do that? Like, everybody was right on time. So we get down there to Have-Nots. They're wrapping it up. So we're like, all right, we can go catch Gilbert Gottfried, I guess, then. We head over to the seminar tent. He's not even on the fucking stage. They're getting ready for something else. And I'm like, well, fuck, we missed out on everything. So we said, fuck it. Went back to our tent. Crashed for the night. So we got to talk about the big one on day 3, obviously, the ICP seminar. Once again in the morning, we hung out at our tent until basically it was time to get going. We get over to the ICP seminar. We're sitting there for like 15 minutes. They were actually early. They weren't late. They were on time. But it was like a 15, 20-minute seminar. By now, everybody knows what happened. They didn't have any news. They did dog beats. So what are my thoughts on that? I might do it my 2 cents. I might not. But I thought the set was kind of cool. I couldn't see. Partially to blame would be Ross TV, who was standing in front of us with his umbrella, just playing. He wanted to see the show. I could have got out of my chair. I just chilled in my chair out of the sun. But it was cool to listen to them perform it. I don't know. I guess it was a letdown to not have a seminar. But on the same hand, somebody made a good point. I don't remember who it was. Why hear a bunch of news that they may not even deliver? Because we still have no idea what the fuck is going on with Looney Goons that they announced last year. So, a seminar with news that may or may not happen. No gifts because they said last year they weren't going to and they stuck to it. Or see ICP perform as Inner City Posse doing dog beats. That was kind of cool, I'm not going to lie. There was that little bit of disappointment though. So there you guys go. No my 2 cents needed. So after the ICP seminar, we hung out there. We watched the Nedden game. Stayed there for maybe 10 more minutes after that. Made our hike up to main stage for the final night of the main stage performances. Everybody fucking killed it. Big Hoodoo, ABK. Even the guys that I wasn't there to see, the Dropout Kings was rocking it, Mushroom Head killed it as always. I hear they had some bad fucking mic problems as well. And it pissed a lot. There was like 1 or 2 Juggalos that actually came up by me and Megs and said something about what a fucking waste of a set or whatever, some shit like that. Like, oh no, I remember now. They asked me how can someone suck that bad. I actually like Mushroom Head. I didn't defend them like I probably should have, but I also know that Jeff or Nothing is no longer part of Mushroom Head, so maybe there's problems with the band. I don't know, but they seemed like they did good from where I was sitting. Then, of course, it was time for the main event. I will always refer to ICP as the main event because it's fucking ICP, and they always fucking kill it. And this year, they absolutely blew me away with their set. Easily one of my favorite ICP sets I've ever seen. They started to count down backwards from years. And you can actually go see Replicon Video's entire set. They recorded the whole thing. I put it over on my community tab, so head over to my channel. Click there, you can go see Replicon Video's footage of it. But absolutely killed it. They started with Dog Beats and went all the way through up to Fearless Fred Fury. They skipped some albums. I did not expect to hear Santa's a Fat Bitch ever performed live, but they did it. And it was really fucking awesome the way they did it. By the time they got to Murder Go Round, it clicked what they were doing. I was like, oh shit, they're going through their discography. And they fucking did. They went all the way through. Easily, hands down, one of my favorite sets that they've ever performed because of that. Just because of that. They did The Stalker, which I know they performed a few times, which is it's just a great track. But easily, hands down, one of my favorite fucking sets they've ever done. So, absolutely loved it. You know, they closed with the perfect song, Be Safe. Everybody's going to be leaving. You know, a lot of people leave right after the IXP set to kind of avoid traffic or to get an early start on the road home. So I felt like it was perfectly ended. But as the chorus is like repeating to the end of the song, you see this fucking fire in the distance. Now, I usually sit far back from main stage. Not far back, but I'm usually towards the back. If you've ever gone to a concert with me, you know this. And I just do it because I kind of stay away from the pit and everything. I try to enjoy the show from a little bit further back. And all I could see is this fucking fire. I had no idea what the hell happened. And from where I was sitting, they had like this tent, the canopy set up for all the light controls and everything. And from where I was sitting, it looked like that was what was on fire. And I'm like, oh shit, it's something catch on fire. Like, what the fuck? Like, we had no idea what was going on. It starts to go down and it gets big again. It starts to go down and it gets big again. Come to find out later, somebody set the fucking couch on fire. People were throwing their fireworks into the fire. At one point, they threw picnic tables in. They threw a fucking propane tank in. Just absolute camaraderie, flat out. You know what I mean? I will say, though, putting the picnic tables in, that's where I call a little bit of bullshit because that was the campground's property. But Juggalos are Juggalos. They're going to do whatever the fuck they want. Anything else, have at it. But I thought it was hilarious that there's this fucking fire that people are throwing shit into while Be Safe is playing. The irony was hilarious to me. But anyway, we left main stage. We actually walked a little bit closer towards the fire just to kind of see what's going on. That's when we had heard that it was a couch setup was on fire. So we went ahead. We headed back towards the tent. On the way down, right by the Freak Show tent, which is the seminar tent, this fucking porta potty is just pouring smoke out the top vent. And I didn't know what the fuck it was. And as we got closer to it, we thought maybe they were fumigating it. I don't know what they'd be fumigating for, but you smell like burning plastic. We're just like, what the fuck ever. At this point, we'd already seen the big ass fucking fire, so we just kind of, whatever. Juggalos are wilding out. It's the last day of the gathering. Went back to our tent, and when we went to leave the next day, that porta potty and the one right next to it was tipped over on its side, and you can see the bottom was just melted. So somebody tried to catch that motherfucker on fire. I had heard somebody blew another one up. That's speculation. I don't know if that's fact or not. But absolute fucking great time. Crazy shit went on the final night. We ended up driving out up the hill, down past the baller lot because we felt like we didn't get to fully see all of the campground. I actually have the map right here. When we came in, we actually came in from down over here, right this way. So this was a big ass hill. We came down this way like so, right around here. And this right in about where Epic is where we were camped. That's where we camped at. And when I say I was by the Juggernaut, literally we're sitting here, my tent's here, my car's here. You look over, you see the Juggalos flag. And actually, in some of the pictures that they've posted on Instagram, you can see the front of my car. So that's probably another regret, was not venturing over and kicking it with those guys a little bit more. But like I said, they were doing their thing. I was kind of chilling. We were doing our thing. But I do want to give a shout out to those guys because they fucking killed it this year with what they did with the benefit show. I hear they had a good barbecue. I know people may think that I don't like the Juggernaut because of some shit I said on Tales from Lowe's podcast last year, but there's no bad blood there from my end. All love and respect to those guys. I may not rep it, I may not be a part of it, but I give full props to you guys for what you guys are doing. So, but yeah, anyway, back to the map. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. So when we left, then, woo, get over here because everything's in reverse. We went back up this way like so. Oh, doing this in reverse is really fucking hard. Went this way past the ballers, basically just to make our rounds around everything. And when I say that place is massive, it is fucking massive. Like I said, Legend Valley felt just a little bit more intimate because everything was close together. More opportunity to just walk to your homie's campground because, you know, Not Slim One, he goes baller. I hear the Bender boys went baller. So you have them clear over there. You had us clear over here. You know what I mean? It's like, it was pretty big. And if you didn't have access to a golf cart, you really kind of sat and was like, all right, what do we want to go see? Because if you were going to hike, you were going to fucking hike to where you were going. And to make a different hike that day makes you think twice. I was kind of already prepared for the heat. Like I said, I drive a forklift, and a lot of what I do is outside. So I was already kind of adjusted to the heat. I live in northern Indiana. So I was already adjusted to the heat, the humidity, but just walking in that shit wears you the fuck out. But yeah, we're going to wrap this up because this is going to be a pretty lengthy video as it is. But those are my highlights. That's kind of how everything went down. Absolutely great time. Another successful gathering. One thing I do want to say, I think I mentioned it in my merch pickup. I feel like they had less merchandise this year than they did last year, which really kind of, I don't know, being the 20th, you think they would have went all fucking out. But it is what it is. It seems like they have a new merch kind of game going on right now because I see a lot of the stuff that they have end up going onto their eBay account versus Psychopathic Merch, which is just kind of its own little entity at this point. But I do think they should have had more merch. But hey, that is what it is. That is my final thoughts on the Super Gathering. Absolute great fucking time. Glad to say that I went. And if they do have it in Shimmer Forest again, I will still go. Because it's the fucking gathering. It's that close. I might as well go. I'd prefer it to be in Legend Valley. It's actually a further drive for me. I would make the further drive and make the hike up the hills at Legend Valley before. I'd prefer to do it at Shimmer Forest. But I will do it at Shimmer Forest if that's where the gathering goes. So if you guys were there at the gathering of the Juggalos, leave your thoughts down below. What was your highlights? Leave your thoughts and your experiences, or make a video response as well. And for everybody else that didn't go, you should have went. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.